What is the deal, beautiful people? My name is Ramon. Welcome back to the channel. Here we talk about any and everything photography. Today's topic is about learning how not to compare yourself to other photographers. And this is a very difficult thing to do, just in general, outside of the conversation about photography. It's hard not to compare yourself to other people. And I think it's an innate human thing to do because it stems from you wanting to do better or wanting to get somewhere. And it's totally acceptable to look at someone who's already there and see what they're doing right versus what you're doing, what they're doing wrong versus what you're doing, and try to get ahead on that concept. But it can be a very detrimental thing to your journey as a photographer. And I just want to shed some light on a point or two about this, because I myself have fallen down in this hole and I didn't even realize it. It's not until you sit back and you sort of think about all the different phases and points of your journey you go through, and then you think, well, what influenced that? What happened here? Why did this work? Why did it not work? And you start to see these little things jumping out at you. So that's super interesting. I think the first point that I want to emphasize is everyone's journey as a photographer is completely different. And because of this, the outcome, the style, the body of work is different. And I am a huge advocate of the notion that you cannot solve a problem at the problem. You can't look at a photo and begin that as a solution for you. What I mean by that is, this person's photo that you're attempting to compare to your own is their endpoint. You can't use that as your starting point, right? So this person, for one reason or another, decided to get into photography. This person, no matter where they lived or how they lived or what camera equipment they use or what type of subject they had available to them or whatever hardships they were going through in their life or whatever highs or lows they've been exposed to, they arrived at their inspiration through those processes. And by them arriving there, this is the outcome of that. You can't relate to that. Hang on. You may be able to relate to some of that, but you can't duplicate that. You have your own set of things that mold who you are. And it's very dangerous for you to look at something and try to make those connections and then execute. I think there is value in doing it, but don't get lost in it, because you'll never really truly achieve the output someone else has. The second is just the sheer nature of comparing. I don't know about you guys, but when I compare, I generally look at the negative aspects of things. I kind of look for what's lacking. You never really look to compare yourself to something for the good, right? You're seeking to compare because you feel like you're lacking. And I think this is such a dangerous thing to embody, because it triggers something that says you're not good enough. And I've often felt this myself, right? And it's a hard thing to not do, and it's a hard thing to pull yourself up out of once you start to do it. So just the sheer nature of comparing means you're already looking to tear yourself down at the expense of excusing what you're actually good at. And my argument is, as a photographer, you need to laser focus, super serve what you're good at. And that is where you end up in your niche and how you can execute on a higher level. Make sense? And finally, this one is, I think, a little more interesting, because not everyone realizes that it happens, or we do it, right? Comparing yourself under the veil of inspiration. Right? Inspiration is dope. Inspiration is something that's needed. Inspiration continues to be the food of creativity. However, I think how, where, and why people look for inspiration oftentimes becomes dangerous. And it's a very dangerous road to walk, because within inspiration, you go back to this baseline of comparing, and inspiration looks so different for so many people. It's super hard to put yourself in their shoes and try to relive what inspired them and how they arrived at that output. I think inspiration should be executed on a level of just yourself, and I guess your grandiose ideas of where you would like to go. Because once you invite someone else's inspiration in that, it innately becomes a comparison, and then it becomes a danger to how pure your potential could have been or should be. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a very difficult topic to explain at length, and I feel like those of you who've struggled with inspiration and struggle with trying to break a barrier or get over a plateau as you progress in your photography journey, those of you who are there may get a lot of what I'm saying, and I think it's important to not compare yourself to others, because it can leave you just sort of lost with little to no direction, sometimes even less direction you had than when you came. And I think listening to yourself first, with very little input from others, is the way to go, versus seeking input and inspiration and direction from what has already been done based on someone else's voice of their self. And I hope I'm making sense here, and I want to hear in the comments from you guys. Can you relate? Have you been in this situation? Because I know I have, and it takes quite a bit of work to get that all out of your head and to laser focus on what I want to do and what I want to say and what I want people to see in my work. Not an easy thing to do, and something I still struggle with today, right? Especially when you talk about trying to get exposure as a photographer and take advantage of what's currently dope and the trends and how to get the clicks and the likes. It's difficult. Anyway, if you like the video, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because a good few of you who watch the videos aren't subscribed to the channel. I'd love to see that number grow. And again, my name is Ramon, and I am out of here. Peace.